Hello, I'm Avery or Hazel or Kylie. You can just pick one, I don't care.
Hello, I am Lily.
And welcome to the From the Closet podcast. Today we are covering Inception. So obviously there will be spoilers for this movie. If you would like to avoid those, there will be a link in the description below to the Just Watch page for said movie. With the Just Watch page, we'll have links to all the places you can rent, purchase, or stream this movie with price comparisons for renting and purchasing. Also, in the description, you will find a link to our Patreon where you can vote on future episodes of this show, as well as get access to episodes before they release, as well as early access to episodes of our sister show, Off the Shelf, which is about books and is exclusive to YouTube and Patreon. Speaking of future episodes, Lily, can you spin the wheel to determine what they can join us for next week?
Let's see. Into the Woods, I guess.
Ah, yes, Into the Woods. That's a fun movie. Very interesting to go from Inception to Into the Woods. They are very, very different themes, I should say. But anyway, yeah, look forward to that and some other wheel movie next week. Also, in the description, you will find a link to Anchor.fm, which is now Spotify for podcasters, which itself will have links to every platform this podcast is on, as well as links to our Instagram and Twitter, where you can be notified when we release new episodes. With all that being said, please get out if you would like to avoid spoilers, because we are going to start talking about the movie now. And holy hell, what a
Or are
movie.
we?
Yeah,
Or
are
maybe
we?
this is just your dream.
Or maybe it's a dream within a dream.
Maybe maybe just there's just no podcast. You've been
Yeah,
dreaming about this podcast this entire time. You need to wake
yeah.
up. It's been 27 years.
That's kind of funny considering you're not even in your 20s yet and I'm only 26.
Oddly specific year.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I really loved this a lot more than I thought I would because, like, when it comes to movies like this, they tend to be really overhyped. I didn't feel that with this, and I most certainly felt that with Blade Runner.
Yeah, I'll be honest. So the longer this movie went on, the less I understood, but the more, like, it didn't take away from the enjoyment, though.
Yeah, that's the
In fact,
thing.
I
Like,
think
in
the
Blade
less I
Runner,
understood, I feel like yeah, sorry.
in Blade Runner, it felt like the less you understood, the less you were being entertained. In this movie,
Yeah,
even if you don't understand what's going on, it's still pretty entertaining.
I mean, that's what the movie's all about. It's about, like, these mind fuckery. It's about this, this parallel world of dreams,
Yeah, I was
this
really, really
concept.
deeply invested in this, in like that one main character, like his whole story, like about his wife and how like she died and everything, and like that whole story felt more engaging than the actual main story of them trying to plant the idea into this other rich
No,
kid's head.
that like one plot line was more entertaining than the entirety of the Blade Runner series.
For real. I mean, I was recently watching a YouTube video where a guy was talking about like how um he's like a massive fan of sci-fi, and one thing that he will never forgive is people leaving
Hmm.
Blade Runner 2049 out to dry, because it was like one of the few sequels to ever like actually live up to the original. And it's like, yeah, I do agree that 2049 was better than the original, but I still found both of
However,
them quite boring.
What did he talk about Stargate being the next god? Joking, of
No,
course.
I actually don't think I've ever heard him talk about Stargate.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about Stargate until like when we recorded it.
I have, but it's mainly been CinemaSins. And even then, I wasn't watching a video on Stargate, but you know how they like to make pop culture references that aren't sins of the film.
Yeah, like Marvel.
Well, see, Marvel does it for comedy, and CinemaSins is like, well, this is supposed to be comedy, but it's not as funny as when Marvel does it, and it's also somehow a sin of the film.
Yeah. Anyway,
Y-
sorry, I just couldn't think of a segue, so I'm making my own. So,
Okay.
just the dream idea of like you're going into someone else's dream is amazing, and I love the way that they executed it as well.
Yeah, it's super cool. I don't know why. Um, I don't know why the only other case of going into someone else's dream I can think of is fucking Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. And these are very
Um,
different contexts. Cause
Mario and Luigi, Dream Team.
I haven't played any of the Mario and Luigi games.
I
But in
swear
like
to God, though,
in
I feel like Dream Team should be a clue here.
See, in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, there specifically Explorers of Time, Darkness, and Sky, there's a scene where you go into the dream of an Azurill, and you're trying to wake it up because something Darkrai has pushed it into an eternal nightmare.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's fun, and there's also the whole other. I don't know. Dreams get really interesting in pop culture. Like in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which we're coming up on eventually. Um, dreams are going to play a very, very big role in that movie. So I don't know. I thought it
But
was.
um,
Go
I
ahead.
also really love the intro of the movie, and especially with the rioting crowd. You don't understand anything yet, but when you do understand, everything starts making sense. Why was there the random rioting crowd? This was just the projections.
Yeah. I love how the movie makes you question what's real and what isn't. Even like at the very end, that ending fucking shook me, where it's pseudo revealed that what everybody is saying is the real world might actually also be a dream. What
Oh
the
yeah,
fuck?
I looked up the ending, like the ending meaning, and the only thing that the meaning meant is that the our main protagonist isn't looking, like isn't gonna go back and check whether if it is a dream or not, if it's reality or not. Apparently.
Yeah, but that implies it could not be reality. Who knows?
I guess he just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore because he is finally with his kids.
Right. But
He could be in they could be in their dreams.
so something a lot of people love to rip on this movie for, and it's not even a fault of this movie at all, is
Hmm.
people not understanding what the word Inception means and going on to create their own definition. But it has been 13 years at this point. That definition has been created as a result of this movie has gone on to be included in dictionaries. So this movie has
Huh.
literally evolved the English language, And anyone who's upset about that can just fucking deal with it.
Damn.
Yeah, but the movie very
That's
clearly
crazy,
even
actually.
defines what Inception is. It's the creation or beginning of something, or the establishment of something. In this case, an idea. Like that's the example they're using.
And not just an idea that the host thinks that they had themselves.
Yeah, thinks that they incepted. But now
It's
Inception has an additional meaning because of this movie. A layering, nesting, or recursion of something. Basically,
huh.
when something is within the same thing, within the same thing, blah blah blah, and it keeps going. Or it doesn't. It doesn't matter. As long as it's the thing within the same thing. So a
God
dream
damn.
within a dream,
The
for
thing
example.
within the thing.
Yeah.
It's like one of those you know, prank gifts that you get someone. If you open up a box and it's just another box, that goes for 4 more boxes.
It's a Russian nesting doll. Ah, that's why it's nesting. Nesting is in the definition. Okay.
I always forgot about those
But
dolls.
yeah, I don't know.
I like the concept.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I think I it used to annoy me like a lot, and then I started seeing that definition in dictionaries a long time ago, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
Hmm.
It's time to throw in the towel. They've won.
The movie won, guys. The movie beat English.
Yeah, this movie beats English into submission.
Imagine that.
And
Imagine being more powerful than a language.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things where like people associate a word specifically with a movie. Um, and like sometimes it's a case of the word already existed before, but they think the movie made it up. Like one that I can think of is in Avatar, where um like the resource that they're trying to mine on the moon or whatever is
Hmm.
called unobtainium. But that's a word that has been used in science and science fiction since like at least the 60s, I think maybe even since the 30s. And it's like Avatar didn't create this word.
I know it has there's an effect behind that. I can't remember,
Yeah.
but it's like when a large crowd can believe something, can yeah, that idea can pass on very easily.
Yeah, I don't know. I love I don't know. I feel like it's an interesting topic to go into is like when movies shape
Yeah.
the way we speak. Cuz this is like this is a recent phenomenon. Like movies have been around for only around 100-ish years, a little over, but still it's like that's pretty
Around
young
that,
in
yeah.
comparison to speaking.
Or even something like other media, books, movies. Not fuck movies. I meant music. Art. Paintings.
I mean
You know?
like uh when you think about it really, like a painting's not going to really shape the way people speak. Music may, books may even do so. But it's very interesting that we're finally getting to a point where like movies are doing it in very, very interesting ways. And I don't think we've ever had a movie before on this podcast, at least I don't believe so. I don't think we've ever
Hmm.
had a movie that redefined a word and had it accepted as an actual definition for that word.
Look, I'm still in that patent office for Wally, so what one day. I don't know
Yeah.
what the word would be, but what Wally
Yeah,
cleaning
I
robot.
don't know, just make up a word. Make up a word for something that already exists. That incidentally, that is the entire plot of the book Frendel. But
Huh. Great. Books are happening. Book fiction is real life. This is the takeaway. Or is it?
yeah,
See, yes,
but
Inception, do you know what's real? Do you know
I don't know. Do you know
the
what's real?
consequences? Do I know what's real? I don't think. Oh, actually, that reminds me of something else I wanted to say. I love the concept of like 5 minutes being like an hour inside of the dream.
Yeah, obviously, like time is gonna work very differently in your dreams. Um, I mean, that's kind of reality. Like hours can pass by in a blink. Um,
And I love the
so like I
concept
don't
of
know.
how
It makes sense to me.
also they were explaining how they explain dreams was also really interesting. Um because you don't really know, like when you're in a dream, you don't know that it's a dream. You also, it doesn't start. There is no start to a dream. You're just in the dream.
Right. And
It's fascinating. Like all
I'm
these
not
things that we technically know, but you never really think about.
yeah, and I find it interesting how they work out when they're in a dream or not by having some kind of totem that is like has some unique attribute that only they would know about so that like when they're when they're in someone else's dream and that totem does not have that attribute, they know it's not their dream because they wouldn't know
Which,
about it
yeah,
in order to like replicate that aspect of the item in their dream.
I love them. Like it's like I made my totem. It's like, oh, can I see? It's like no. It's like you're learning. Good job. Don't give anyone your totem.
Yeah, I
Also,
thought it
that
was
fucking freight train that just appeared out of nowhere, like, holy shit.
yeah, this movie is like all kinds of fuckery and I'm here for it. I mean, if you've
Yeah.
seen our if you've seen our recent well, I guess they're not so recent anymore, but if you've seen our episodes on like Agents of Shield season 4 and season 5, you know how much we like just love mind fuckery.
Fucks with our mind. Our mind.
Yeah, like mind fuckery is when you get some really good content. Um, at least I feel there are ways to do it
Yeah.
bad, but fortunately we haven't come across any like actually bad implementations of it.
I mean, I feel like, like, you try to do some chaotic shit and just fucking fail, and everyone can just see everything coming.
You know,
It's not
okay.
fun.
You know what I feel like fails at mindfuckery shit?
Hmm.
The last Twilight movie. Because it tries to
Oh,
do this
yes,
whole
I
thing.
totally know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It tried to do this whole thing where it was like, oh, there's this big fight happening and everyone's fucking dying, and oh, it's all a dream. It was all a vision.
That is the worst. Oh, actually, I remember a game that started like that. It was it's the tutorial for Sam and Max, the third Telltale game, where it's actually the tutorial is just a prediction, just the future. I can't really remember the word, so I'm just gonna say future.
Premonition?
No, prophecy, though. Something around, but it's not really prophecy. No, well, I'm gonna give up explaining and just say future.
I mean, if it's a vision of the future, that's a premonition. That's what the word means. But yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know. That whole thing in Breaking Dawn genuinely pissed me off. I was like, what the fuck?
It's all a dream. No, not it's all a dream is probably one of my least favorite. And you actually know you see it mostly in like fan theories. I
Yeah.
swear, like every media has a Okay, but what if it was just a dream?
Honestly,
And
I like when I really, really like when things are left open to interpretation. That's one of the things that works so well with this movie. It also works extremely well with Joker, if you remember that movie much at all. Like,
mhm.
it's unclear how much of that movie is actually happening and how much is just the Joker's hallucinations. And it
Who knows?
works so well.
It's unclear if even the people who made the movie.
I don't know, because they're making a Joker 2 with Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. So,
I've given up on this world.
I mean, it could be good, but I don't know. Doesn't
Avery,
sound.
I want to know the exact percentage on that could.
There's not an exact percentage, just. I don't know.
Because I'm giving it like, I don't even know if it's a 50-50. I'm giving it 30% of it being good.
See, that was one of the comic book movies I felt like shouldn't get a sequel. And, while we're at it, I think this movie also should not get a sequel. I
No,
know
I would be
people
okay
have.
with the sequel if it's just like a totally different thing, right? Like I had the whole the dream thing, but different people, different different stakes.
So more like a spin-off than a sequel, really.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like this doesn't need a sequel. Please don't give it a sequel. I'm already hearing stories and like I want to stress that these are rumors. I haven't seen any actual confirmation of it, but I have heard rumors that Alex Hirsch is like gonna give it another 10 years and then like do some sort of Gravity Falls revival. And I don't know if that means it's going to be like actually however many years later in the world and it's going to be completely original characters, or if they're actually going to try to bring back Dipper and Mabel and all that shit. If they do that, there's no hope for it, in my opinion. But if it's a completely original story, because that could work. Like Bill Cipher is supposed to be reincarnated.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it's like, sorry, 10 more years in real life?
yeah, in real life.
Look, more power to him if he plans this far ahead. All I'm
And
gonna
I don't
say on
know,
that.
like,
But I mean, I want to be. It's one of the things that it just would happen.
yeah,
It's
and
like
like,
the new Phineas and Ferb episodes. Like,
oh yeah,
fuck it, why not?
Phineas and Ferb coming back, which honestly, that has a very strong possibility of still being good. I mean, they made Candace Against the Universe in 2020, and it was fucking amazing. So, like, I don't know. Bringing Phineas and Ferb back, especially after the failure of Milo Murphy's Law, sure,
I mean, they're
why
still
not?
making Hamster and Gretel. I think
I still haven't seen any of that.
it's
But yeah, I don't
okay.
know. A lot of these a lot of these revivals, they feel cheap.
They don't feel
Um,
earned.
right. And it's like, I don't know. I'm tired of seeing. I've said it before so many times. Like I said it with Blade Runner 2049 and Hocus Pocus 2, and I think a few others. I'm tired of seeing
Hmm.
revivals that feel half-assed and only done for the sake of like getting people's nostalgia money. Ironically, it didn't
It's
work with Blade
nostalgia.
Runner
It's
because it didn't
hmm.
work with Blade Runner. That Blade Runner 2049 absolutely flopped in theaters.
But yeah, it's just something like I feel like and to be fair, they do like Hollywood. They have a lot of IPs. They have a lot of references. You would say to go back on. I don't know if it's an originality or that a lot of they just want to see more um like sequels and actual original. And if I had to guess, I think it'd be a mixture of both.
I actually think that it's like in large part it's studio executives pushing against like having originality and pushing for sequels and reboots and shit like that
Hmm.
because there are plenty of people who want to create original movies and plenty of people that do even in the bigger studios. There are still plenty of original movies that come out. It's just that a lot of the time people don't show up for them. Like, they don't go to the theaters and watch them. They don't buy them when they become available. They don't watch them when they become available for streaming. And it's like, well, what do you think is going to happen when nobody's watching original movies and people are watching the sequels and reboots? Like, obviously, they're going to keep giving you what people are watching.
Absolutely. And I guess I don't really think people really know what they want, so to say.
No, of course
I
they
don't
don't
think
know
I
what
know
they
what I
want.
want.
Of course, like, but I mean, what people want is an amazing original movie, and it happens every once in a while. But you have to be content with pretty good original movies, and you have to actually turn up and watch them.
I feel like a lot of people want that they want that end game.
Everything,
They want
everywhere,
that
all at
Puss in
once.
Boots sequel. They want the best at all times. which is something that can very rarely be done.
Yeah, it's like, you know, these films that people talk about wanting more of, they don't actually. See, here's the secret to these films. The reason they're so good is because, like, the reason they stand out so much is because they genuinely are better than most of the other stuff that gets put out. You wouldn't be talking about Puss in Boots: The Last Wish if every movie that came out that year was just as good as that movie. That's why nobody ever talked
Yeah,
about The House with a Clock in Its Walls. Like, nobody talked about that movie even though it only came out a couple of years ago.
I'm gonna prove your point. What the fuck is that movie?
Exactly. Although, to be honest, that movie was kind of bad. I watched it in theaters.
Oh,
But it was one of those movies where it was like, it's so bad that it's good.
huh. Also, I've seen
But
like a
yeah.
lot of other, like, a lot of bad movies get a lot of coverage as well.
Yeah, this just wasn't one of
Like
those
Cats.
cases. Uh, and
Or
see,
the Emoji Movie.
there's a lot of stuff that's out there that is just bad on purpose uh, to generate like rage. One thing that I can think of
Velma.
immediately, Velma. Yeah. Velma was bad on purpose to generate rage. And then there are some things where it's like they do a specific thing on purpose to generate rage, even if the movie itself isn't necessarily bad or good or whatever. Like something I can think of is like when Disney
Hmm.
announced that in the live action Little Mermaid that Ariel was going to be played by a black actress. They did this knowing it would generate outrage to get people talking about the movie. It would generate outrage against the like race swapping, and it would generate counter outrage against those who were outraged at it. And in both cases, congratulations, you fell for Disney's plan. You got more
So
eyes on the
basically, they
movie.
generated a war to generate sales.
Yep. And it worked. Little Mermaid made
Oh
more
yeah.
money than whatever the fuck DreamWorks did. I don't even remember the name of that movie.
Oh, but everyone said when no, I made enough jokes this year.
But yeah, I don't know.
I feel like I hit my limit on how much I can trash talk the people who said, "Oh yeah, DreamWorks is making a totally better movie to totally show up Disney."
Yeah, because DreamWorks is totally capable of showing up Disney.
I
Like,
I'll be honest, they are capable. They just don't all the time.
they are
Like they
capable
have
of
the
occasionally
potential.
making movies that are genuinely better than like half of Disney's catalog. But they are never I may eat my words, but I don't think they are I do not think they are ever going to make a movie that is better than Disney's best like top like best 5.
I mean, you still have to see Puss in Boots, which I still am failing at getting you to see. Paid
Yeah.
$20 for nothing.
I mean, we're going to cover it eventually.
Or was it? God,
So, don't
I
worry
can't
about
remember
it.
how much I paid for the digital version of that movie.
Well, I mean, you bought it with the original Puss in Boots in like a bundle.
Yeah.
So,
So maybe it was around like 40. Yeah,
I don't know if you
that
would have
sounds about
spent
right.
$40 on it. That seems a bit much.
I
But yeah,
mean, I do remember I was like, oh, but should I? Oh, that's money. But it's such a good movie.
this movie does not need a sequel. Please don't give us one. This movie is good on its own. Having a sequel would just taint the original, especially if the sequel's bad. Look at what happened with The Matrix. Look at what happened with
Yeah, The
Wreck-It
Matrix got
Ralph
the third movie.
and the fourth movie.
Yeah, but we mostly hated the third movie, the second and third movie the most.
Yeah. Third movie, I think, Matrix 3, I think, was the worst one. But,
Yeah, no, I was telling my friend, it's like, yeah, no, hated, 2 and 3, specifically 3, and it's like, okay, what about 2? 2 was just the setup to 3. I was like, yeah.
yeah, so, like, I don't know. It's bad. And then, like, regarding sequels, it's like, I hold Wreck-It Ralph as, like, one of the top 5 Disney movies ever made. And then Ralph Breaks the Internet is bottom 5. Because just how polar opposite those two movies are. But yeah, I don't know. That's what happens when you make a sequel to a movie that wasn't meant to have one.
Also, I think we should stop stalling now because we don't have to anymore.
Well, I wasn't really stalling. I was just kind of going off on like a billion side tangents, which
Yeah.
is, just normally what I do in conversation.
Also,
But yeah,
how much
one,
time would we have before, like, your phone dies?
I have no idea. I'm not looking at it. It's in a
Fair
different
enough.
room.
What?
So
You record
just
your
real
phone with a
quick
different
before
room?
Lily reads the critic ratings, I also really love the like score in this movie. It was pretty good.
I would also agree with that.
All
Um,
right.
huh. I think this is one of the first times we had all of the ratings be the same. IMDb gives it a 8.8 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 87%, and 88% of Google users like this movie.
Yeah, I had already seen the critic ratings, but I didn't make that connection. I'm giving this an 8.5.
And I didn't premeditate this rating, and look, I need to do the funny number. I also want to give it an 8.8.
Okay. So yeah, you can join us next week for what was it? Into the Woods. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Um, but yeah, until then, I've been Avery, that's been Lily, and we will be seeing you.